We don't hire based on skills.
Okay.
We hire based on attitude. Do you have a teachable spirit? Because that is critical, right?
Yes.
Our calling can change. Sometimes God calls us out of our comfort zone and brings us into something else. Even though it's kind of scary sometimes because you don't know where you're going quite. And enjoy the journey.
Yeah.
Have fun along the journey, right?
Good afternoon, everyone. I would like to welcome you to our podcast, which is called Campus to Career. And I would like to welcome Adam Keough with us for this podcast. He is the Irish Mission President, or President of Irish Mission. Yep. There we go. Yep. Adam, I'm so happy that you were able to join us today and tell us something about your Campus to Career experience. How did your life unfold? It started at Newbold, so you're an alumni. And I want you to know a little bit about your experience here and how did this prepare you on the journey through the pastoral ministry to essentially becoming the president of Irish Mission?
Yeah, so it's a good question. It's lovely to be here. Thank you for having me. I suppose when it comes to Newbold helped form me as a person. I came to Newbold when it was 97, so I was 20 at the time. I just turned 20, left when I was just turned 25, just as I was leaving. Those years in your life, they're kind of the formative years, right? And so I guess it helped me to grow as a person, as an individual. My character was forming at that time, and doing theology. That was helping form this new worldview that, Newbold's trying to help us as theology students deconstruct our previous kind of worldview and reconstruct this kind of biblical worldview, do you know?
Okay.
And I suppose when it comes to leadership and when it comes to the role I serve in at the moment, Newbold helped me to do, if I think about three particular individuals which were here at Newbold when I was here, Gunnar Pedersen, he was teaching theology at the time, and he regularly had us and students in tears, for good tears, because just the thing I learned from him was just about the grace of God.
Okay. And
I suppose all of that really has informed my whole of my pastoral ministry, right? I think about Dr. Mike Pearson, who helped me to doubt, because doubting is healthy, because it leads us to question the worldview that we hold, all that kind of stuff. And that's maybe one of the qualities I want to see in people as well, that ability to critically analyze things and doubt what people say to them. And one of the other persons was Ian Clark. He was head of the maintenance department, and I worked in maintenance, right? And Ian looked after me, even though I was a student. And I was working here. I was doing 4 hours of work, plus I was doing some paid work. And Ian really looked after me. And what that taught me is I would have done anything for Ian, right? And that taught me that when you're in a leadership role, if you care for people, people will really respond and go to the nth degree to do anything for you. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
And that may be one of the greatest lessons, and that wasn't a theology teacher.
Yes.
That was the maintenance guy who was my boss.
That is fascinating. That is fascinating. I think that's incredibly encouraging for all staff to realize how important role we play. And because we deal with people who are in the formative years, we often replace somehow the fatherly, motherly figures, even though sometimes we don't know about it. So that is amazing. That is a great testimony. So encouragement to us all. If you look back at your time here, how would you see yourself as a student? You were more the academic one or the hands-on? And, because we have a variety of people coming with different talents and gifts. And so if you would kind of go through your own journey, what would you say for, some of these types of students as to how they can succeed, or what is important? What do you find when you reflect back?
Was I academic? No, and I'm still not really academic. But just because you're not academic, it doesn't mean you can't be a lifelong learner.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So I would say I'm not academic necessarily, I'm not really brainy and clever like some people are, right? But I've learned to be a lifelong learner in the field that I'm working in and things at the moment. But for students, just don't give up. I mean, get through the courses you're doing. And sometimes, especially for me, it was Greek and Hebrew and some of these harder courses, the ones that we all complain about as theology students, right?
Yes.
Literally, you just have to get through them.
Yeah.
And for me, I guess when I was at Newbold, I was never here to get good grades in the sense. I was just here to kind of pass because I believe God wanted me here and had me for something in the future. I wasn't sure at the time what he was calling me into, but I was sure I should have been at Newbold. So just because you're doing well academically or not, if God has called you and you're here for a reason, then just, if you have to struggle with some things, that's okay, just kind of get through.
Now, I will be a little cheeky. I might ask, was there any particular experience that you felt like this was a sort of a good lesson or a good struggle to have with God, or generally in the preparation for pastoral ministry? Is there any experience that you would like to share, or maybe you can think of that?
A struggle that I had here.
Struggle or some sort of like a challenge or lesson, good lesson for life.
One of the lessons, and it came up in we're doing some student interviews and conversations and things at the moment, and it came up in one of them today, is that when I came to Newbold, I came with nothing. Literally, I had £600, I think it was. I didn't even have the money I needed to go to registration. And I turned up, and there was a lady or someone, I met someone that told me that I could get a student loan for £300, I think it was, from HSBC Bank. And I went down and I got that student loan on the same day, and I had enough money then to register. And I'd come here and I didn't know how I was going to pay for my fees on that first day.
Yeah.
And I noticed that similar kind of things happened right throughout of my, 5 years at 3 years it was, because I was sponsored for my master's. Always had enough money at the right time.
Yeah.
It always appeared when I needed it. And I think that really grounded me in, that I was in the right place. I didn't sure where I was going to go in future, but I was at the right place at the right time. And I think that kind of experience with God was really grounded me spiritually in a sense, do you know?
Well, I think that's another great lesson, because often we have a lot of people who are interested in studying theology, learning about God, exploring their call, but finances, of course, come as one of the first obstacles on that journey. So sharing that there is always a way, and we in this way also thank all the supporters that, in one way or another, contribute, often pray and often collect and support the students. I mean, that's amazing. So thank you for sharing that. You're a shining example that this can work. If you were to, now from the position of a president, and I think you shared with me, you studied here around 2000, so that is about 20 years in ministry or more, 24. When you reflect on the journey and you would be trying to maybe give some advice for the students, how do you see the landscape changing, and what kind of qualifications and qualities, skills people need today to enter ministry and make it work? Be there for be equipped to serve the churches as they are in today's world.
Interesting one. And I am going to say what I'm going to say from my own perspective, right? Yeah. From the Irish mission perspective. This is not necessarily the same for other presidents, but this is how I see it. We don't hire based on skills.
Okay.
We hire based on attitude. all right? So in my view of how the greater structure of the church works is that Newbold will give you a academic foundation.
Yes.
It will help deconstruct your worldview. It will help reconstruct that biblical worldview. During the placement and things that the students will be involved in, they'll be doing some pastoral placements and things, right? And they'll be developing their skill set a little bit.
Yes.
But from our perspective as an Irish mission, internship is about beginning to learn the skill set.
Okay.
All right. So those 2 years after you come out of Newbold, you'll be employed as an intern. You won't be a pastor straight away, right? Yes. You'll be an intern, and so the role of Newbold is to develop that biblical foundation, that biblical worldview. Help grow the attitude of students to a place where they can then go into their internship and begin to develop the skill set for that 2 years of internship, whereas then they'll move into the phase of being a licensed minister.
Yes, okay.
And so really the two main attitudes that I'm looking for in someone in the interviews is, do you have a teachable spirit? Because that is critical, right?
Yes.
Your 2 years of internship, you're just learning, you're soaking things up like a sponge, you're making mistakes, and, that's the period of grace, you know?
Yeah.
So number one, and that's the most important, a teachable spirit. And secondly, you have this kind of collaborative mindset, do you know?
Yeah.
That you're not going to just be working on your own and just not worry about anybody else. You're part of a wider organization, you're part of a pastoral team, you're part of a church, you're part of an elders team, do you know? There's this collaborative mindset, and so teachable spirit and collaborative mindset, to me, that's worth employing someone when they've finished their master's degree. The skills will grow after that, and we're always growing skills. I'm still learning new skills now, right? So for me, that's kind of the placement of Newbold, internship, and then moving into licensed minister kind of thing. So
yeah, it makes sense, and I think it corresponds very well with other organizations, corporate world nowadays. A lot of companies would do essentially the same. Right. They are hiring people for their attitude and for their values more than maybe the skill set, because that can be teachable.
That's right.
Yeah. What would be, so you mentioned the collaboration and learning, the ability to kind of reflect and learn as well, being teachable. What do you look for in terms of people's spirituality maybe, or essentially what they came for, the theological background? Is there something that you look for, or you kind of, it's just given that, you assume that they come and they have those that foundation that you're looking for?
Well, obviously we look for calling, right? Calling is a very important part, but I'm of the belief, because it happened to me, right, is that calling can change over time.
Okay.
While you may feel called, you're not sure what you're called to. Maybe when I was here at Newbold, and I've spent 24 years in pastoral ministry so far, I wasn't sure what I'd been called to and so forth at the very moment. And so even if someone says, I'm not sure of my calling, and they're still looking for a job, it doesn't mean they're can't have a job. Do you know what I mean? Because actually part of the internship is also to discover whether this really is your calling, right? Okay. Because you get employed for 2 years on an internship basis, and you're not on a permanent contract at the beginning, right? And so, of course, we're looking for someone that has grown spiritually, that is open to God's leading, that has gone through and, we're not looking when they come out to start work. We're not looking for the perfect article, right? The finished article, because we're all God's workmanship our whole lives, right? Yeah. So we're looking for someone who is the same values, teachable and collaborative, but built into that with that spiritual dimension kind of in it, you know?
Yeah, very good. Well, that is encouraging for our students. And we would also think that coming out from academia, that's something that students should possess, that they are able to reflect, they're able to think critically, and they're, of course, learning. They value the idea of learning, lifelong learning, and collaboration. And I think partly that we have at Newbold a student body that kind of do this journey together, you know, and they work together through this thing. There is some collaboration happening there between them and with the staff as well. So those are wonderful insights into what is important for Irish mission in general. Is there anything else on when we kind of talk about this topic of from campus to career? Is there anything from your heart that you would like to maybe share with the audience, be it our students or some people who are maybe just exploring their calling and thinking, well, shall I come to Newbold or shall I not? What does God have in store for me? So is there anything that you would like to share kind of as a last thought?
Yeah, sure. I suppose our calling can change. Do you know? Just because you come here to study at Newbold or you think you might be called to study theology, I mean, one of the things we find out when we're interviewing students and things is because some of them are younger people, they think, oh, I want to be involved in youth ministry because that's a kind of natural tendency, right? But just because you're involved in something, you know, in the first few years of your work doesn't mean that God isn't going to steer your calling in a different direction, right? I never saw myself sitting in the presidential role, for example. I very analytical mind and things and very detail oriented. And if I was going to suit an administrative role, I would have said that would be secretariat. But sometimes God calls us out of our comfort zone and brings us into something else. Because actually, when we're out of our comfort zone, He can mold us in a different way than we see us molding ourselves, right? So, you know, so long as we're open to where God's leading us, and if it is God leading us, then He will provide for us, He will sustain us, and He will bring us down the pathway. And even though it's kind of scary sometimes because you don't know where you're going quite, it's not scary because you know that the God who has brought you to where you are now is going to still bring you along in the future. So keep hold of Him, really, and keep hold of where He's... And enjoy the journey. Have fun along the journey, right? Smile and cry and just build relationships with people and enjoy the life that God's given you.
Adam, thank you so much. I appreciate it. And for the audience, if you have any questions about God's calling for your life, whether it's Newbold, whether it's ministry or something else, give us a shout. You can engage with us, give us a comment, or you can also contact us per email or phone. We'll be very happy to have a discussion with you. So thank you so much. Thank you, Adam, again.
God bless you. It's been lovely. Thank you.